Well, as most of your other guests have said, Sarah, this is, strike it up as a miraculous recovery, if you will. First of all, I just, tip my hat to, again, to this amazing crew, to the flight attendant, the ability to quickly get all of the passengers off the airplane. Safety, as you've already noted, some minor injuries there, but overall, what we would call a good outcome based on everything that we're looking at here. And now the critical work, begins with the investigation with the Transportation Safety Board in the lead, as noted, to say, what happened, why did it happen, and certainly we always think about what are the things that we can do to prevent it from happening in the future. So, but the good point here is that the fuselage, the body of the aircraft is intact. They'll be able to quickly retrieve, the flight data recorder, the cockpit voice recorder. All that will be critical in just understanding those final moments of the flight just prior to touchdown. Well, yes, we train, and as a crew, as a pilot, I past life I spent a part of my time as a training captain where I trained all the crews. So you go through many of these scenarios about recovering from a hard landing, recovering from what we call a bounce landing, right? Some of these things that you hope that you will never see over the course of your career, and certainly over the course of my 26 and a half years of flying as an airline pilot and captain, I never encountered something of this magnitude. But it's something that you think about, and then that training really does kick in, as we see with the flight attendants of getting all of the passengers safely off the aircraft and the pilots. So the rest will just have to wait for this investigation, which, has been stated, won't take that long for us to have a pretty definitive answer as what happened in the last few seconds. Yeah. Yes. Mhm. The way I see, having been the acting FAA administrator, having led this organization, 45,000 people, it's all we have to continually improve. But as I think about it, my understanding is that the critical roles, the air traffic controllers who oversee the flights, the people who maintain the air traffic control equipment, the safety inspectors who oversee the safety of our national airspace system, of all the operators within that system, none of those people were impacted. That being said, right, this is an opportunity for us to continue look for ways to improve, making sure, I'm reminded of part of the Hippocratic Oath, which is part of what says do no harm, right? So we want to make sure that this system, which is quite complex with all of the operators, want to make sure that we don't wake up and suddenly we've got delays, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The American public expect to get on an airplane, fly safely to their destination, and get off that airplane and have that all done in an atmosphere of complete safety. I believe that's what the agency delivers day in and day out. And so as we seek technological improvements and advancement to keep pace for the next 20 to 50 years, let's make sure we keep the system intact and safe day in and day out.